Hello, everybody. This is Preston Poulter here with Pocket Jacks Comics, who is not live on Facebook. I just got this big error message. Like, all right, gotta get rid of that. I am the most vetted man in all of comic books, as far as I can tell.
And in Comicsgate, because you own it.
Yeah, but I think, like, do you know of anybody who in comic books who has gone through as much intense scrutiny as I have? It's pretty crazy. But yeah. By the way, so I feel I've been pretty reasonable and nice and relatively engaging and fair-minded. But you know what? I think I've kind of hit my limit. So any of you fuckers in chat, get out of line. Permanent ban. Fuck off. So there you go. Going forward, you can come in. You can be respectful. That's what you got to be. Other than that, you can get fucked. So.
Or silently spy, even.
Yeah, I feel free. Feel free. Run back and tell. Yeah, I don't give a shit who you tell, really. I mean, look, it's not like I've as you now know, it's not like I've led a life of privacy. Right, but by the way, before we get started, I want to talk about some exciting stuff. One, just sent the final payment to the letterer for White Lily 5. So he should be like uploading the files tonight, and potentially I could be like sending out PDFs tomorrow and getting that off to the printer. So very close to turning that one around, and it is a really beautiful story, and I'm very proud of it. So that's good. And also, you know, myself and Zombie, you know, we're kind of people of means. And we've been thinking to build some excitement as well as to kind of offer, you know, newcomers. Because there's the thing about the first time comic offering is, you know, you typically lose money. Oh, hey, Tim, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate your support, sir. Appreciate your support quite a bit. But I'm thinking of having a pitch stream, right? And people come in and they pitch their ideas. And, you know, if I like it and Zombie, like, you know, like the two kind of investors, you know, like we end up, you know, kind of backing up, you know, paying for the artwork to bring the comic book to fruition to then crowdfund it. That was kind of a thought I had. I wasn't quite sure how to structure it, but it was an idea I was kicking around.
That sounds cool.
Well, I know it sounds cool, but
in practice, who knows?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to. I mean, so all right, Thomas. I mean, you are certainly somebody who meets the criteria. You know, you're financially
always begging for money.
Always begging for money.
Can I get in on that line?
Of course. Look, it's a pitch stream. You got to come in and impress us with your stuff, and we're going to put you to work. You know, you come in, you pitch us. We're going to be okay. Sounds good. Come back with a script. You know. Then you come in with a script. We're going to look at it, and we're going to all right, change it. You know, and we're going to put you to work. And if at the end of the thing, you know, you clear over the hurdle, and you know, we think we got something, then yeah, we'll pay for some artwork and get that all created. I'm just not sure.
It's like I would be writing a comic for you,
right?
That sounds neat. But if it's like if it's my own idea or something, I'm still writing it for your expectations. But it would it's not like I have to write like White Lily 6 or something.
Right. All right. So first off, yeah, I understand. And you know, I've been thinking about this. Like, I think they really shot themselves on the foot with this because up until then, like, all right. So initially, Ethan and company was supposed to be conservatives. And then they decided to kick out the conservative Christians because they weren't accepting enough of like the gays, right? So
a lot of that's really questionable too.
Yeah.
In the first place.
And then it's like, okay, so now we're, you know, so comics, and you know, we're certainly engaging a lot of, you know, kind of sexual degeneracy with all the dildo memeing and whatnot. And then now they're just going on full on, you know, digging into my past to kink shame me in front of everybody as much as they possibly can. I'm like, okay, so you're now kicking out the sexual degenerates? Is that what you're saying? Or, you know, what happened to the people who were supposed to be championing against cancel culture?
Where are these Puritan ideals coming from?
Oh yeah, but yeah, I don't think they made a good move on that one. So yeah, then these are the questions. How do we want to structure this thing? I don't know. So you know, I know that there needs to be some initial investment of money to get the art created. And then, all right, so let's go through some scenarios here. So if we first off, the question needs to be what kind of level of artist do you want to be? And I think maybe I could see like going with, kind of giving some of like the low level artists a chance, in which case we don't have to pay as much because their page rate isn't as high.
Yeah, like a nice starter opportunity for artists.
Right. Yeah. Like a starter opportunity for artists. And we can also kind of do that on like the stream where we bring in the artists and, the artists kind of got to present themselves. And, we more or less kind of put everybody to work on the thing. And yeah, like I think, because if you're looking at like amateur artists, I mean, the page rates like.
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be an exposure, at least. That's the important thing, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they certainly would be getting exposure, but we're not going to pay them in exposure dollars. So, we're going to pay them in money.
Actual money.
Yeah, actual money.
Yeah.
Always a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than just exposure.
Right. So, like I think, all right, so if we got a page rate, like let's say theoretically, a page rate of $150 to get a finished colored page, none of this black and white nonsense, like a finished colored page.
That's still a big solid page rate too.
Yeah, no, and that's not bad, right? You should be able to get pretty decent either artist or art team for that. Like a decent representation of your work. Like I'm not talking like Peter Gilmore shit. I'm talking like actual decent art. So and then what that would be 23 pages plus a cover, like $3,000 or so, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's
basically what I'm looking for to the total for literally two.
Yeah, so like I could split that was like what, like $1,500. You know what? Just at that point, you brought it to market. You crowdfund it. John, you can keep the money. You can keep all your crowdfund money. You can print it. So yeah, that's it's pretty reasonable. So we're kicking around some exciting opportunities here for both amateur artists and writers, and hopefully that will be enthusiastically received. So yeah,
what that makes me think though is like if somebody's like an even lower level, right? I mean, it's hard to
customers master. We're running customers.
It's like a lower level artist though, somebody who's much more new, much less experienced than if they would be willing to work for like a lower page rate, like $50 a page. Right. But I mean that's something they would have to agree with too.
Well, and that could be something else, like people come on and it's not bad.
Because I don't need like professional art for a lot of my comics. And my brother was talking about like for his comic that he presented, he's like, I don't need even a great artist or a great comic artist, just somebody who maybe wants to cut their teeth on a new project, something like that.
Right.
And would still, get paid for it. It would just be lower than the average page rate.
I have some crayons if you would like help with that.
There you go. Yeah.
Are they the expensive crayons?
No.
All right, there we go. See, no, good. I don't want squishy amateur stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be something else we can do. We can once we get the like kind of an idea presented, we can have artists come on and kind of like present character sketches and go, who did the best job.
Their portfolio, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
portfolio showcase.
Yeah,
portfolio showcase.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then getting them matched up with a writer on a project for, something that would, be made for less money, like a lower budget than your average comic book, I guess, sometimes. Or maybe at, depending on the quality, could be like at the average budget too.
Right. Exactly. So
there's a lot of possibilities. It's strange no one else thought of this before.
I know. I don't know why this
we only stream one night a week. Let's
you got us some
we're streaming every night. We can take over the world.
We gotta pump those rookie numbers up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, portfolio showcase I think would be pretty cool.
I've never done any. All right, let's see. I've never done any art for money. I do it for less than 50 per page. All right, so Lester, now. Again,
I've seen some of his art's not bad, for like a good starter level kind of stuff.
Whenever we're talking comic books, we got to go. Are you doing pencil ink color? Or are you just doing, pencil ink? So I got it. I mean, granted,
just line art, that kind of stuff.
Just pencils,
for single page commissions. So that sounds about right. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. All right, so there we go. We have a couple of stories here. Let's start off because Thomas came in the chat first before AK-47. So let's go ahead and give a look to.
I was actually thinking of letting AK go first.
Okay,
because
we're gonna let.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
gonna have to go over to. We're gonna have to go over to
if
Discord.
you're ready for that.
Okay.
Oh gosh, now I have to open the other one.
Exactly. Hold on.
Ugh, messed
I've-
It
everything
throws
up.
everything out of whack. If the show's ruined.
I'm gonna
It
go back a
is.
couple seconds. I've seen Lester Dog competing on DNQ. He's pretty good.
Okay.
I like his art.
Luster Dog is the guy who did some or person, I don't know, who did some extra Laylee fan art the other day. That looked really cool.
What a good name too, Lester. Lester Dog. Vicky, so I'm gonna do all the female parts.
Yes, that is what I was told today.
It fits perfect.
That we'd be switching up.
Well, if you heard my turn at Viviax, you'd have been impressed.
Oh, I did.
I remember
by
that.
the way,
there in the
hold
chat.
on. I'm going to go ahead and show off Miss Sashi because she is pretty awesome.
Oh,
Let me see if I can find
I was
this.
gonna
Is
say
this,
her art.
is this a Sashi premiere?
It's not quite done yet, but
Oh yeah, I saw the sketch version that.
yeah. So we've kind of moved a little bit beyond the sketch version.
I wish she would do comics, but I understand that she just does like pinups and covers, which is good enough too.
Okay. All right. So now, fair warning, everybody. If you don't want to see nipples, you should cover your eyes. So or come back later. Let's see, share screen.
A little saucy.
Better cover my eyes.
So what do we think? Now
Extra.
it's not done yet, by the way. This is still just work in progress. But
Is this like an orc woman?
no, that's Viviax.
Oh,
yeah, the succubus.
She's got the wings behind it. The wings haven't been colored in yet.
I see.
and the fangs.
It's very hot.
Yeah.
I like the shading.
Very spicy. There's some nice weight to it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely thick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
fit. You know what though? I was noticing, the shading too is actually really nice move.
That's one of her better pieces I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and I had the idea because in the comic book pages, as we've gone over previously, Viviax is making a move on Guinevere, so I had like the little split finger V with the tongue and
Spicy and saucy at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. Victor, this is Miss Sashi.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, who has thus far survived her canceling from Liam.
I know. I guess that didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
She has a great work ethic too, which again is what like people try to cancel her over. Is that she just has a pure work ethic? It's like, oh, give me money, I will do the drawing. That's it.
Right.
That's all you need.
Exactly.
None of this political machination. Oh, this person said this, and this was problematic because they liked this post or tweet.
Actually, it's a slight correction. It's give me lots of money. And,
Oh, yeah, it is. It is quite a lot of
she's
money.
very expensive, but so worth it. That was beautiful.
Yeah, you can definitely charge a lot when you're a high-end demand and actually really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so which one is the
All right. So Crowman.
Crowman? Okay.
Crowman.
It's a
All right.
working title, so.
Mhm.
Crowman. All right. So I'm seeing some narrator. I see a mugger.
Mhm.
So go ahead and tell us who the mugger is going to be.
Thomas.
Yeah, right.
All right. And all right. I got 2 lines of dialogue so far. So wait, no,
There-
mugger and mob boss. We need a mob boss.
And then there's another one, Garuda. So I'll give Mecca that.
Okay. So
Garuda?
Mecca
Yeah.
is Garuda, and who's mob boss?
Vicky.
Vicky is mob boss.
Awesome. Oh, you mean we're gonna have to listen to Preston try to read out loud?
Yeah. Who's narrator? Am I narrating?
Yes.
Just kidding.
Yes.
Are you wearing your glasses?
No, I never wear my glasses.
Oh.
It's way more adventurous that way, I think.
Oh, okay.
All right. Page 1, 5 panels. Panel 1. A crow sits atop the edge of a building. It's staring down. Its eyes are blood red. Panel 2. Blood is seeping through the streets from bodies. So far, so good.
Mhm.
Panel 3, a mugger, knife in hand, that is draping with blood, has a panicked yet satisfied look on his face. Panicked but satisfied. I don't think I've ever seen a combination of that. All right. Sweating nervously, a woman's purse that's stuffed with money and jewelry in his other. Mugger.
It was your fault. You got what was coming to you.
Panel 4, the mugger's knife drops behind him in a pool of blood as he runs off. Panel 5, the knife is reflected in the cold, dead eyes of the boy who was murdered.
Yeah, I messed that up.
That's okay. That's okay. Page 2, the crow is looking down on the scene of the murder as a mother, father, and a son lay dead next to a movie poster of a masked hero that is pasted in the alley.
Ooh,
So that's a splash page. Page 3, 5 panels. Panel 1, the crow flies off the edge. Panel 2, the crow lands back of the boy's body. Panel 3, the crow with his beak open pecks it into the back of the boy's body, ripping out some flesh. Panel 4, the flesh in the crow's mouth turns black as it begins to melt into the body's body. Into the body's body. All right.
Boy's body. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Boy's body. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Panel 5, the crow now resembles a black goo that has merged into the injury of the body, and the goo has spread all over the body of the boy, covering everything except his mouth and jaw. Page 4, 6 panels. Panel 1, bones snap out of the goo, and the dead body stretches, growing in length. Panel 2, the bones rearrange themselves with the goo forming around them as a replacement for the flesh. Panel 3, the body begins to rise. Panel 4, the mouth and jaw that is still visible disconnects from the skull to expand the size of the head. Panel 5, the black goo sticks to the body and forms a leather-like clothing covering the body. Panel 6, the figure rises up with feathers sprouting from the back of his collars, his fingers now sharpened like claws. Page 5, 5 panels. Everything is seen from the perspective of the crow man, and it's all in black and white. Panel 1, he looks down at his hands. Panel 2, he looks at the pool of blood which the corpse of his parents lay. Panel 3, a pool of blood begins turn back into the color of red momentarily. Panel 4, the crowman's eyes light up in red as he grips his head, traumatized. He roars out in agonized pain. Panel 5, he jumps upward into the night sky. Page 6, splash page. A full reveal of Crowman soaring through the sky. The colors are back for this page, but there's a little tint of it fading away. There are some cop cars that can be seen in the background of the city. Page 7, 9 panels. Panel 1, a butler is sipping coffee in a mansion. Panel 2, he looks towards the grandfather clock and notices the time. A look of worry creeps up on him. Panel 3, a phone nearby him rings. Panel 4, the mugger pushes the door open, money back in his bloody hands, clothes tainted slightly with blood and sweat on his face.
But boss, I need help.
Yeah. Panel 5, the mob boss, who is sitting with his legs stretched out on his desk, cigar in his hand, lackeys surrounding him with plenty of money, all of the table being counted, lifts up his fedora and asks the mugger in question.
What the fuck did you get yourself into, eh?
Vicky, the mob boss. Panel 6, the mugger gets close to the mob boss and drops the bag of money on the desk. Panel 7, the mugger raises his hands full of blood.
I accidentally lost it when I was trying to intimidate a family.
Panel 8, the mob boss's lackey smacks the mugger in the face, a tooth flying out.
What did I say about killing people who weren't coordinated beforehand?
Panel 9, the mugger looks up in fear, holding his gum, a stream of blood flowing from it. Page 8, 9 panels. The mob boss gets up from his table. Panel 2, he looks towards the mugger. Panel 3, he grabs him by the face.
Didn't I also say that if you embarrass us, I'll make sure you end up paying a price money can't buy?
Panel 4, the ceiling crashes open with Crowman landing in the room, eyes bloodshot, red salivating, in a feral position. Panel 5, the lackeys begin to pull out their guns, but we see Crowman appear before them, having already snapped one of their arms with bones breaking out through their skin. Lackey number 1.
What the fuck is this thing?
Whatever the fuck it is, kill it.
Panel 6, the other lackeys begin to shoot at Crowman, but he dodges whilst throwing the lackey he was holding onto at one that shot at him. Okay. Panel 7, Crowman jams his finger claws into the throat of one of the lackeys. Panel 8, he pulls out his Adam's apple. Panel 9, the mob boss pulls out his own gun. Page 9, 9 panels. Panel 1, the mob boss fires at Crowman. Panel 2, the bullet hole of Crowman's chest begins to close. Mob boss.
What kind of monster are you?
Panel 3, Crowman jams his claw fingers through the guts of the mob boss, making him puke blood. Panel 4, the mugger in fear tries to smash a crowbar on Crowman's head. Panel 5, Crowman uses his other hand to grab the neck of the mugger and holds him up whilst he pulls out his claw fingers of the mob boss's guts, causing the mob boss to sink to the floor. Panel 6, the mugger screams in fear, kicking at Crowman.
Let me go.
Panel 7, Crowman snaps his neck. Panel 8, the mugger's lifeless body drops as at Crowman's feet as the ray of sunlight begins to creep through the curtains and shine on his dead face. Panel 9, Crowman roars in the middle of the room, everyone inside it dead in pools of blood. Page 10, 7 panels. Panel 1, a ball of white light erupts in the middle of the room behind Crowman, and he's alerted to it. Panel 2, Crowman turns around, back in the feral position. Garuda.
You have broken the rules mere hours after your resurrection.
Panel 3, a half-bird, half-man-like figure similar in appearance to Crowman, but in brilliant gold and flaming red colors, hovers in the middle of the room, illuminating in the light. Garuda.
Your job, post-resurrection, was merely to kill those who have cheated death, not those whose time had not come. You've upsetted the scales. That mob boss was not meant to have died here today. Out of all the men you've slaughtered today, only he was the one exception.
Panel 4, Crowman leaps at Garuda. Panel 5, Garuda vanishes from the spot he was in and appears behind Crowman. Panel 6, Crowman falls to the ground but reestablishes his footing. Garuda.
I am Garuda, the one whom is tasked with balancing the scales. You are Crowman, the one who reaps the souls of the cheaters of death. Your restored life is only but temporary, and you only have a total of 13 human days to fulfill your duty. Such is the nature of the contract. If you continue to break the rules of taking life, that which was not meant to have ceased, then you will not be allowed back into the stream of reincarnation. I will personally eliminate every and any trace of your soul. Consider this your first and final warning.
Panel 7, Garuda, in a flash of light, vanishes, leaving feathers on the ground, which scorches the wood it touches. And those are 10 pages. So, who wants to start with positives?
I like the crow idea.
Okay.
It has a good control of tone, certainly. You know, bleak and creepy and that kind of stuff.
I mean, it certainly is reminiscent of the Crow.
The Crow, that's the first thing I immediately started thinking of.
And kind of
Good.
Batman.
Yeah, Batman too.
I think there's a lot of room for like, Caw! Caw! Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly. So we, as this script for Preston's new movie. Goodbye, Tyler. Anyway, where were we? So, yeah, all right. It had a lot of death in it, and like 10 pages. That's like a ton of death. We had like a mugger get overzealous and kill a family, and then the tone is that's quite a tone that you're going to have to keep coming back to.
Yeah, bleak and pretty violent,
pretty bleak.
which at least in the 10 pages it sticks to that.
Yeah, so you definitely stuck to that tone.
Mhm.
It's kind of a dark superhero. So I don't know, like I'm trying to think of dark superheroes. Like we've got. We want to say Batman, but like Batman is not that violent. But yeah, that's why I keep coming back to the Crow or Punisher.
The Punisher too is something you definitely think of.
Yeah.
Dead Man.
Yeah. All right. And we are presented with a conflict. I'm not exactly sure what the conflict is because it's kind of discussed in vague terms, like he has to go forth and do something. And apparently he's not supposed to kill people. But
Spawn is another comparison somebody mentioned in the chat, and yeah, that's reminiscent too.
Yeah.
Are we still on the positives, or are we going?
Yeah. I think we're still on the positive.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to jump the gun.
Yeah. Is that everybody? Is there any other positives, Vicky?
I really liked the Patrick Swayze-esque throat ripping out. That was pretty cool.
Like in Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. Yeah.
I saw it as like Steven Seagal Under Siege.
Oh yeah, that would be good too.
Yeah.
Although I mean, it reminds me of how good those movies are, and not to jump the gun, but the comparisons are not accurate enough.
Now, I did not see the opening. Does anyone see Punisher
yeah.
Warzone?
One of my
Yeah.
favorite movies of all time.
Okay. So tell me about the opening scene, since John brought that up.
It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Fucking Punisher goes in with guns. He fucking hangs. It's like the beginning of Punisher Max, where it's like old mobsters, like 100 years old, and so Punisher starts machine gunning everyone, the old man first, and then all the other mobsters. And so that's what happened in the movie. Just fucking like shuts off the lights, slashes the old guy's throat, breaks his wife's neck, and then hangs from the chandelier, spinning around in circles, spraying everyone with gunfire. It's one of the dumbest things ever, and I love it.
Yeah.
I was taken aback by, did he just grab an Adam's apple? So, a lot of graphic violence. Is there like, I guess the Punisher Warzone had that much graphic violence in it?
Well, it didn't really have that, but it had like the whole. He like turned the bad guy into a Pez dispenser, basically. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But one positive I'll say is ripping out just a guy's Adam's apple, just like ripping it right out, it helps show the power immediately in your protagonist hero guy.
Right.
Right away. It's like, okay, that's how strong he is that he can basically rip people apart like paper.
Mm-hmm. All right. I guess we will now move on to constructives.
It felt like you wrote this whole thing with 10 pages in mind. I think if you had just wrote a 22-page or 48-page book, it would have turned out a lot differently in the first 10 pages, which, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You want something good to show off on there.
You just finished the 10 pages like right before the show, didn't you?
Yes.
And you have the last couple things with the Garuda character is just like a straight up exposition dump.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right immediately.
Yeah, like that stuff would have been interesting to tease at the end, but just like laying it all out, it was like go back and like, it's like butter, like spread it on the toast a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No one likes a big old glob going down their throat. So otherwise, not too bad. Interesting.
Thank you.
Vicky, you have anything?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing that Mecca just said. Though I kind of wish that it felt a little. I don't know if it's supposed to be supernaturally or horror. If it's supposed to fall into like a supernatural kind of category or horror category, because that gets a little confused once you bring in Garuda. Mm-hmm. But I would like to see something maybe if that's the direction that it's going. Obviously, a little something more of that sprinkled in the first few pages. Because otherwise it reminds me more of like The Thing.
Mm. Oh, that would be kind of neat too, though.
Yeah, and you like keep in mind you're writing this for an artist, not necessarily a reader. So the black goot descriptions and stuff, you don't need to be so arty. You can be a little mechanical there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can be like really almost come off as stiff or clinical in a way if you need to for the artist's sake.
Yeah, because that's the guy that really matters between you and him.
Mm.
I had a few criticisms. I didn't want to say problems. The thing is, I feel like it's just derivative.
By the way, was that a Final Fantasy reference?
Oh no, yeah.
Well, the Garuda in Final Fantasy is a reference to some other stuff. Anyways,
see, now that is a story right there. That's I
31st anniversary.
Wow, yeah, I watched that movie. It takes me back. I get so nostalgic.
I never saw Roadhouse until I think a couple years ago because of the riff tracks too. That's
the riff tracks were great.
Yes, it's two different riff tracks.
Exactly. I was going to say that. Yeah, two different riff tracks. But I mean, for me, I think. I mean, unless you are setting up a horror tone, I think these pages are a little too violent for superhero. I mean, even like dark superhero. I mean, because you are, calling for specific pieces of anatomy to be shown to be removed, and you're doing a lot of fair amount of body horror. we've got a dead body, and then like a crow comes down and starts eating the dead body, and then the dead body gets animated, and then we now have the animated dead body coming and disemboweling people and taking out Adam's apple.
Yeah, reanimated corpses. That's like inherently horror.
Right. So yeah, I mean, if you're setting up a horror tone, cool. But I just want to make sure that that's kind of what you're going for. Because if you're not going for a horror story, then I think these pages are a little too heavy.
Yeah, no, I am going for a horror story.
Okay.
Like, but also a bit of like a detective noir kind of feel.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, we have a title suggestion, perhaps The Rook. So,
Thank you. I was looking for
Yeah.
like a new replacement. Yeah.
That does sound like a good improvement.
Is the Crowman just a placeholder, or do you have like a alias
Yeah.
for him?
No, that's the thing. Because like at first, Garuda was gonna be called Phoenix Man, and I was like, how do I get a replacement name for this? Because that sounds lame. And I was just like,
it's really
okay.
campy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it was like, okay, so the phoenix is like the Garuda, like in Hinduism. That's like some kind of analogy that people make sometimes. So I was like, okay, I'll go with Garuda. It sounds better, you know?
Playing into that might really help the story too, actually.
Yeah.
Adding more elements of that kind of mythology.
What does Garuda mean?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like some kind of deity. Sorry, I read this like in Wikipedia a few days ago. I'm not exactly familiar with it, but I couldn't find an equivalent to a crow for it, you know?
Kakashi?
No, yeah, I'm trying to avoid like Japanese names in general. It's not that it's a bad thing. It's just I don't want it to feel like, an anime weeaboo kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, in a way that's played out.
Yeah.
Oh, the name, the word rook comes from a Persian root. And I have my chess days. And I want to say it's like chariot is what it means. Yeah.
If you get people start thinking about a smart thing like chess that like
Yeah, no, the thing is, I was thinking of like how to frame this like Death Note in a way. I don't know if any of you have ever seen or read that.
I've definitely heard of it.
Yeah, that was more of the tone I was trying to establish. It's like this supernatural detective kind of thing.
Working as like an angel of death.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Detective. I mean, all right. I mean, I guess we could say like The Ring is a supernatural detective horror story. I guess.
You could also go for like the genus of a raven, which is Corvus. That'd be a name that could work for a character.
But here's what I'm gonna say. All right. I feel like one, if we look at Spawn and the Crow, one, there aren't a ton of kind of horror superheroes because that's almost a contradiction in terms. Horror is supposed to be about the big monster and the vulnerable protagonist. And here it seems like the Crowman, Rook, whatever you want to call him, is kind of invulnerable, I guess, in that kind of Crow way, and that, well, he's already dead.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, what would his weakness even
what
be?
is his weakness? So we're just doing, as we turn up the violence in an invulnerable superhero story, we're really just making it like gritty. But look, I loved when Punisher got the War Machine armor and he was just taking fools out and just like mass body count.
Yeah. It's kind of what you want to see with the Punisher in a way.
Right. Yeah. But
I think in a way this needs a lot of work though, is more marinating, more baking and more marinating again to not just coming up with but I mean that's the natural process. I'm not saying you need to go do this. I'm saying that it's something that you're kind of just going to do naturally if you keep working on the story anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you know what the ending is, but I would consider trying to come up with the ending or know what it is before you even
I had one before I started like writing this.
That is good, at least. That's a good thing. But then it's trying to figure out. I think you got to sort of come up with a twist though, because it comes off as soon as people read this, they're going to think, oh, it's just somebody ripping off The Crow or somebody ripping off something like The Crow or something like that. And you got to find a way to communicate to the audience that this isn't going to just be a different version of The Crow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Swamp Thing. That's
yeah. Yeah, Swamp Thing's a good example.
But that was more like existential horror, like what am I kind of thing.
Well, it sounds like the character that we were just going through the story with was kind of like a reanimation. So
Right.
you could deal with themes like identity loss and what makes the person whatever.
One thing that did interest me also is the idea that he's got like 13 days or something. So at the end of 13 days, he goes into the cycle for reincarnation. So that means basically he is going to die at the end of this. That's what it seems to communicate to the reader, and I think that's interesting.
People say that Ethan and company are a hate group, but I don't know how we could possibly think that.
What?
I mean, why would we think that? Really? You know, why would anyone say that Ethan and his company are a hate group? I mean, look at
that's probably Ashley.
Oh, there we go.
That's what I was thinking, isn't it? Somebody said if it sounds like trashy.
That comment just screams Ashley, and I think she's a little mad at me.
Yeah.
Does she have like thick fingers or something? I don't get it.
Well, yeah, probably.
But all right, so coming back, you know, like I think you should take this in more of a Swamp Thing direction, I guess, because I'm kind of feeling that and Swamp Thing really capitalized on the existential horror.
Maybe also think of a different beginning that takes place a little further in and then flashback. Possible. I'm not sure if that's a great idea, but
I was given that same recommendation by someone actually.
For a good reason.
Yeah, if you can come up with a good way to do that, if any good ideas come up, where it's like, oh wait, I could jump to this point and then jump back later that establishes this, then that can work. It really depends on if you possibly will come up with other ideas for just how it is and rewrite it that way, and that could work better too. So, by the way, you're puffing into your microphone.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're doing that.
Since it's a dead guy and he's reincarnating, you can work a pun in there with carry on.
Possible.
Carry on.
Also, yeah, does she have thick fingers? You haven't seen it. Well, yes, we have seen Ashley.
But my comment is though, we don't. And I think this is my main problem. My main problem is you have a protagonist, and I'm going to assume that the Crowman Rook character is your protagonist.
Mhm.
And he never speaks, or it never speaks,
Mhm.
right? So
it's a thing, not a character.
Thing, not a character. Yeah, and
maybe it comes off like a wounded creature in a way, which is its own interesting aspect too.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, carrying whatever you want to call it, but we're just essentially these pages are going to become, I think, pretty quickly repetitive and tired if we're just watching a thing go around murder people. Murder, death, kill.
Just do a music video at that point,
That's what I was thinking. Is like, is it going to go somewhere from here, or is it just going to be more of this?
I'm giving you a minute, but unlike Swamp Thing cared about the lady.
Mm-hmm. The empathy aspect.
Yeah, and then Crow cared about avenging the murder of his beloved bride.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I don't know what this thing cares about at all. I mean, it's like some kind of supernatural entity that's inhabiting a corpse. Is it supposed to be taking on the corpse's vantage of life and therefore trying to seek some kind of vengeance? Or, what is this character's motivation? So I don't know. And the task set before the character is very much kind of Deus Ex Machina. God comes down, go do this. So it makes the character kind of a delivery boy, more or less.
He just goes and does that then.
Right. He goes, okay. So there's not a ton of agency on the character, and we have a goal that could best be summarized as a MacGuffin. I'm saying.
And if that's by design, that the character has no agency, then that could be interesting if it's played into really strongly in the rest of the story. But You know, if it's just playing out that way, then by instinct, the reader might be bored by this point, thinking that the story might not go anywhere, and that's tricky to come back from sometimes.
Yeah, like thanks for like pointing all that out. That's actually what I intended, like at first. Like
Of
I
course you did.
Yeah, no, because I wanted it to take this down to like a psychological exploration of like what it feels like to have this happen to you, you know? And later, like you're right, he doesn't have an agency right now. This is kind of where I wanted it to start him off as, and it slowly put things back into place.
Okay.
So yeah, I think starting from a further on point would be best then, because you would get a better idea of the theme you're going for. You communicate that to the reader instead of the reader just thinking, his parents are killed and he dies, so he goes and kills people. The end. So yeah, I've had that happen, and I've seen that happen where it's like, oh, I want to write a story about this theme. So how do I get to this theme? Well, okay, his parents got to die. He's got to jump around and kill people, and then you've written so much story where you still haven't even gotten to the theme of it yet, or the the grand scheme of everything. And it's like that's so much further down the road, and you realize it's like, oh, I can't even get to the point of my actual story yet. So that's one of the big writer difficulties, and that's where in medias res really comes in handy.
Yeah, and Odin's Ravens, if you're gonna do like some kind of Deus Ex Machina, that's a direction you could go in as well, instead of like an Eastern one, because a raven is more known for like Norse, and Odin would watch through his ravens kind of thing. But your homework now is to read Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. do yourself a favor. That is,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Stay with me after the stream. I'll walk you through where to start on that.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I think I know where to find that without having to pay money necessarily, but not that I promote that sort of thing.
All right. Next, we have some more exciting pages. We have Cape Cuck Follies. So. I like it already, right?
This technically is going to be derailing, isn't it? By nature.
No, never.
It's staying on topic, but it's still derailing in the way that we're not supposed to tonight. But we're going to anyways.
All right.
You can see right by the picture showing right up.
Exactly.
There aren't any girly parts, are there?
No.
Wait, your elderly mother who angrily shall shut up, Mama, and save and comment.
Yeah, that's right. The only female you will see is on the cover.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we have Nerd 1, Nerd 2, Nerd 3, Rethan, Mark, Tim.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Oh, Mark and Tim are in this.
Mark and Tim.
Harold Comicscape.
A whole bunch of Rethan. All right, let's start casting. We need a Rethan.
Who can do it? I could do the Rethan. I get Rethan. Is that a good one? Do you think?
Welcome to Comic Artist Bruce.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's better. You'll do the Rethan. You know what? I know. For Poor Black Child, that can be Vicky. Okay. And
oh my goodness,
I could actually do all the rest of the voices if you're fine with that. Then.
All right, then who is narrator?
Would you be fine with narrating?
Sure. All right, here we go.
All right.
Hey, I did the last one pretty good, right? I'm smart.
We got AK somewhere.
I don't know. Do you want to do a voice, AK?
I don't mind.
I'm not even sure which.
You kind of sound like Tim Lim to me.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. All right. You know what? Yeah.
You can be Tim Lin and Nerd 1. How about that?
Well,
okay.
How about no? I'll be the nerds, but you can be Tim.
You're gonna be
and
all three
Mark.
nerds. Okay.
I'll be all the nerds, and
Okay.
AK, you'll be Tim and Mark.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. So we got a cover. I don't normally go with covers. So page
Oh.
1. Rethan Van Scrivsver, original character, do not steal, with his weird hitting on dudes. His corpulent, bloated-looking 120-year-old, wrinkly face, sagging eyes, horseshoe, white, bald hair. The top of his head has a few strands of very frayed hair, like he's been pulling it out, or he stuck a fork in a wall outlet. His sausage.
Come on, guys, we're trying to get through this script.
Hold up a coin like Nicolas Cage holding up a pachinko ball from the reader. The coin has a colorful picture of a frog on it. Just a normal frog.
I'm selling these collectible coins that are pure silver and permanently colored to feature art of my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ripoff.
Cool.
Panel 2. Same as the previous panel, but the art falls off the coin. The art just being a round paper sleeve that flutters downward. The coin also is visibly orange like copper. Rethan scowls in imminent fury, like he's about to start crying, tears in his eyes.
Tears in his eyes, I guess.
Panel 3. Exact same as above, except in gigantic text over the entire panel, blocking most of the image. Rethan's dialogue is almost entirely overlapped by text. This is actually. Oh, no. Do I read that?
I'll do all the text overlays
Okay,
too. This actually happened in real life.
SJWs are attacking. It's gay ops they're running. Comics only breaking children's toys will smooth me. I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds.
Page 2, splash page. An ocean of simple blank white non-anti-aliased MS Paint meme faces, beardy soy boys, Wojaks crying with happy face masks on. The vast majority of the heads are collapsed, caved in, melting black holes, bottomless pits, drooling faces, brainless skulls, sagging mouths, giants deformed Lisa Simpson without braces, teeth down in front of the soy boy face, whose mouth is open so wide it goes all the way off the panel. A flurry of word bubbles reaching into the distance.
I'm all the nerds, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. I am all the nerds. Finally, someone is repeating men's rights talking points from 10 years ago. He's owning the SJW soy boy leftists who voted for Trump. Let us pay you $200 for a cardboard box with a tiny, disappointing comic in it that won't be out for another year.
Hell!
3. Tim Lin as a bunny and Mark Pellegrini as a badger sneak up the double staircase on a giant mansion like wind in the fucking willows. Wind in the fucking willows.
This famous comic creator hired me to write his comic, but now that he invited us to his house, let's steal nude pictures of his wife that he surely has somewhere around here. Yes. Good idea. I smell panties in this direction.
Panel 2, fancy bedroom as they pull open the drawer of some big oak hand-carved dresser. Bunny Tim is pulling some granny panties out and holding them up. Mark the Badger is pulling out a bunch of Polaroids. We don't see what's going on. We don't see what's on the Polaroids because there will be no close-up, but who cares? They're just nude pics of a thought who has suspicious connections to corrupt politicians.
It's a little judgmental.
Yeah.
Just a little. It's okay.
So this is where she keeps her underwear. In the underwear drawer. What are the chances of that? With these, I can blackmail my employer for no reason in exchange for nothing.
Panel 3, straight out of the Wind in the Willows chase scene, a bunch of weasels chasing Tim and Mark as Tim wears the panties over his antenna bunny ears, and Mark is holding the Polaroids in his hand. Giant text over the panel, blocking most of the image and ruining everything.
This is what the movement formerly known as Comicsgate actually believes.
Page 4. Like Mac in Predator, when he's staggering through the jungle, all sweaty and looking like he's about to have a heart attack, but it's Rethan Van Scrivsver again in command performance. Rethan is batting branches and leaves away from him as his corpulent, horrific body sweats like a fat, pathological lion. He has an MP5 submachine gun slung over one shoulder, but the MP5 says, "Gay airsoft for nerds," along the side in big visible letters. All the word balloons are wavy and wobbly like he's losing his mind. Each balloon is disconnected like his disjointed, paranoid babbling.
Oh yeah, I'm the caption. Rethan Van Scrivesber, original character Do Not Steal, spends a little too much time in his neighbor's backyard.
Rethan?
They're all betraying me. Dirt worms all over my skin.
Panel 2, a guy in shorts, the neighbors, sitting nearby calmly in a lounge chair on the patio, looking over at the nearby trees that Rethan is stumbling through a few feet away. Rethan spots the neighbor and looks panicked and caught. Nanny Boko, a Swedorpish, like in my Japanese anime.
The neighbor says, "What are you talking about?"
Close up on Rethan as he reaches full psychotic break. And I just want to, this thought overcame me. I think JDA kind of messed up by making Robotoad Wreck Manlet just like a legitimate story. I'm like, dude, if you're going to give it that title, it needs to be, a parody of your subject as opposed to just,
messed up so terribly.
Yeah, although I do appreciate that the main characters were Preston and Vicky. Anyway.
Me
Close
too.
up on-
Gotham Knight in the chat says, "Make sure each time those people say hail, a ball of hail."
Yeah.
I was just thinking though, some of them should actually be saying hail at least. And you know what? I can add.
I'll say hail all the time.
There we go.
Where's that page? Where's it in the second page? Okay, I have Nerd 4.
All right.
Nerd 4. Yeah,
Hail.
you guys can keep reading.
Hail.
Close up on Rethan as he reaches full psychotic break, his face pitch red like on Killstream. The whole family sweating more than ever, giant blobs of sweat flying off his fat face. He fires the MP5 pellet gun in the air, pellets flying up but also raining down and bonking comically off his balding gray head.
Another gay up!
Page 5. Every panel should be page width and thin. Every panel.
Hail!
Okay, yeah, okay. A guy.
I need hold on. I need a hyphen in page and width.
Yeah.
There, better.
Yeah. There we go. Make him say hell. There we go.
Whoa. Or Heil. Yeah.
Heil.
Or
Yeah.
Heil.
I was thinking Heil. Heil would be stronger.
I could do both. Nerd 5.
Yeah.
Nerd 5. Heil.
There we go. It's and we have another day. Make it a pre-op thought. That's what all the money laundering's for. See. A guy with a box for a jar head haircut, and his eyes going in two opposite directions. Behind him are a bunch of brainlet morons, all with the exact same face, copy-pasted heads. Work fine here. Box head and brainlets are all angrily scowling. Caption. Go ahead.
The Cape Cuck Dilemma.
Who's box head?
Oh, I don't know. That's Richard, of course. I don't know. Should that be Vicky? I don't.
I thought it was
Yeah,
the
Vicky.
poor black child, but the Spider-Man writer is a soy boy beta male who's ruining comics.
Panel 2, exact scene, but now everybody's happy.
Oh, I like this comic now. Clearly, he was listening to us. Buy his comic.
Panel 3, exact same, but everybody's angry again.
He called us Nazis. He sucks.
Hail!
Panel 4, exact same, everybody's happy again.
Hail!
It,
I'm
It has
going to write hail in between a couple of these panels
Yeah,
now,
it
and
needs that.
a giant chunk of hail hitting someone in the head.
Hail!
it has this really dope action scene, though. So he must be on our side. Buy his comic.
Panel 5, exact same, Matt again.
He said I should be fired from my job.
Panel 6, going off the bottom of the page, that's practically cut off, along with some of the word balloon.
His latest issue doesn't have too much SJW stuff in it, though.
Hail.
Make sure to move the needle.
Page 6, panel 1, poor black child wearing a blue mask over his head and face, dressed in bathrobe, wandering down the hallway towards the front door of the house. In the background, bright sunlight streaming through the open doorway. He's still close to the panel at this point, holding one nice, expensive PC microphone in one hand.
Caption of the top of the page just says, "Just some shill."
I don't need anything to show I understand trademark law. I just need this microphone, and that's it.
Panel 2, same as above, but further down the hall towards the door, he picks up a chair that was in the hallway.
And this chair, just a microphone and a chair, and that's all I need.
Panel 3, same as above, further down still, gradually making his way towards the front door at the end of the hall. He rips a small strip of paper out of the open book on a side table in the hallway.
Oh, and I need this half a sentence from a blog about trademark law. And that's all I need. Just a microphone, a chair, and half a sentence from a blog. Oh, and I need this. Yellow umbrella's broken mailbox. That's all I need.
He's almost at the door now, holding 2 armloads of stuff. The broken mailbox is pristine and untouched, undimmed by human tears.
Just a microphone, this chair, my Wi-Fi connection, half a sentence of a blog about trademark law, Yellow Umbrella's mailbox, Vicky's sister's docs, an autographed picture of Ethan making a homo suspicious face, and that's all I need.
Page 7, panel 1. Rethan Van Scribsver kneeling in front of a bunch of glory halls, all labeled different things in scribbly handwriting. One says Docs Depository, another says Actual Cox, another says Docs and Cox, another says Payoffs. And Rethan is handing cash into the hole. The Docs hole has rolled up papers sticking out of it. He's kneeling and looking sweaty and suspicious, crooked dick nose imposed over his face. With his free hand, he's texting on a phone, which has a square word balloon, and the text is an Arial, or the wonderful Times New Roman, who's doing phone text.
You know what? That's Rethan, so I guess Mecca should.
Hey, you mentally ill SGWs. Leave my dad alone. Rethan's the best creator of comics, and he's going to save comics, and you all suck. Hail.
Panel 2. From over Rethan's shoulder, we see Rethan's son, a 20-year-old guy. Behind the son is a fat blob drooling creep with a handlebar mustache and a red mask over his face and scalp, holding a cheap plastic bottle of booze in one hand, and in his other gnarled hand is reaching out towards Rethan's son with his clenched fingers, and his eyes stare down at Rethan's son's general lower back area, perhaps checking for sciatica. The foreground has Rethan in the corner as he looks back over his shoulders with suspicion and resentment.
Rethan's son says, "Dad, can you stop embarrassing us in front of the entire world? Also, this sex offender you're harboring in your basement won't stop trying to grope me."
Page 8, a more realistic, straightforward retelling of events. Fat Ethan Van Sciver holding out a tray of coins.
Caption, at some point it's beyond satire. All the rest of these are basically captions, but there might be stuff. I can just read all the captions. So Ethan Van Sciver starts selling. This is basically supposed to be like a green text post of the retelling of the Ribbit coin thing, but as a comic. But Ethan Van Sciver starts selling collectible Ribbit coins for Cyberfrog after he's done several crowdfunding campaigns for variant covers of his still unreleased Cyberfrog comic book. Ethan publicly says the coins are 99.9% silver half dollars and permanently colored with art of Cyberfrog.
Hail.
It's still hailing? Oh my god. Oh my god. Let me see. I'm reading this on my own page. Oh yeah, and then panel 2. I guess that's back to you, Preston.
Okay. Regular half dollars with art on the coin stuck into a knife with mayonnaise on it. Jar of mayonnaise visible off to the side.
The Mayo coin video proves all of Ethan's claims were lies, and the art is a paper sleeve that fell off after being removed from the coin's plastic shell. That needs to be rewritten, but whatever. Using the technological achievement of hitting it with a hammer. Mayonnaise was used in an attempt to soften what was assumed to be a sticker, but turns out no glue was used to apply the image to the coin, so the image simply popped right off on accident. The mint mark on the coin shows that the coin was minted in Philadelphia, whose half dollars are 75% copper and 25% nickel.
Panel 3, angry Ethan at his computer, gripping the edge of his keyboard, red face and veiny.
The next day, refusing to address the video, Ethan posts a video claiming to address the video. Whatever. I'll have to rewrite that too.
All right.
Ethan posts a video claiming to show the process of painting coins. The video is from 2012 and no way resembles the art on his coins.
Page 9, Ethan Van Sciver wearing a calm, casual mask of himself over his face. But behind the mask is panic and sweat, and in his face is red, and his hair is turning pure white and frizzly like Bernie Sanders.
Red, okay. Word captions to spread. Word continues to spread that the coin was a scam. The Indiegogo page is quickly edited to delete one reference to the coins being silver, though other references remained. A week later, the campaign sends an update message to all backers announcing a refund.
Panel 2, same as above, but this time behind the mask, he looks sneaky and insidious as he rubs his hands together.
Although to get the refund, you were required to send your order number and a PayPal account, requiring fucking redundant words, requiring Ethan to identify your name and address. With Ethan having a history of leaking private backer information, the Bean from PA incident, it continues to remain unknown if anyone asked for a refund. asterisk. And then the smaller caption says, "Mine was number 48, though, if you want to take a shot."
Page 10, Vicky, who for the purpose of this comic will be some 60-year-old hag fascist wearing a gray fright wig, sits at a computer with a microphone.
Vicky versus a former supporter and customer of Ethan's. That's kind of a guess, by the way. I don't know if you actually backed any of his stuff.
I did back Cyberfrog.
All right. I guessed correctly.
Last week.
Really good. Has Ethan on live stream to question him about the coin.
Ethan practically turns into pitch red crying Wojak with blood streaming from his eyes and great veins bulging out his neck and face.
Ethan threatens to sue anyone who says he committed fraud. In response, multiple people call him a fraud and present arguments to show he's a fraud. No lawsuits follow.
Hail.
Panel 3, gigantic fat guy with a hockey mask with red and white umbrella pattern on it sits at a keyboard, his fat sausage fingers bashing the multiple keys at once.
That umbrella guy doxes Vicky's sister in an attempt to dox Vicky on Ethan's behalf over the confrontation.
Panel 4, Ethan wearing the calm mask again as his face behind it shows panic.
Ethan proclaims innocence in the docs, does a weak non-committal condemnation of Umbrella Guy, but calls Vicky a piece of shit and tells all of his followers that she's anti-Comicsgate.
Oh, shit.
Panel 5, big ocean of soy boy Cape Cock faces.
As usual, the movement formerly known as Comicsgate claims to have no leaders, but listens and believes Ethan without any evidence. I don't know about the grammar on that, but anyways, listens and believes Ethan without any evidence. This is why I'm glad Preston Poulter bought the trademark to Comicsgate, and I don't care that he did embarrassing porn 10 years ago.
There we go. All right.
There we go.
Okay.
So,
So,
yeah, this is along with the Orange Man script from last week. I would like combine this into, I guess, a 14-page comic
Okay.
and submit this as the comic I want to publish under the Comicsgate trademark.
awesome. Did this script start with aliases? No, it started with. By the way, there was a note up here. Let me see if I can.
Started with original characters,
Exactly.
unrelated to the real people,
Yeah.
sort of.
All right. So positive. You know, it was very funny. It really made me laugh. You have like a good sense of humor, and I certainly needed a laugh. All the crap I've been having to go through.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Something
AK-47.
happened this week?
Yeah. There was one final note. What if Crowman creature can only be materialized through someone's imagination, and so the main character is just a regular guy or child, and the monster manifests and exacts the due death?
Mhm.
Then you would come on this show yourself and do that.
Exactly. Anyway, that is merely a suggestion from the chat.
Yeah, it's an interesting suggestion, but also, yeah, a jumping off point for making your own story too. Theoretically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't mean to insult Seven there. That's
Yeah, in a good way.
It is
It's
a
like
good idea,
you
yeah.
came up with your own premise right there, and it's like, hey, you could actually write your own script. And
Exactly.
put it-
And
If you want,
I
you don't have
fund
to.
the script with all my oil money.
What
The
kind of
oil.
oils?
Yeah. 'Cause I'm-
Anointing oils, though.
Exactly. All right, so yeah, it was funny. It was light. It's definitely.
I thought it was a little bleak, to be honest, but
It's maybe a dark comedy.
yeah.
But
I think you needed more like specific video game references.
all right, well, hold on. All right, constructives, Mecca. Or no,
Constructive
positives.
positives. Yeah, like normally when I read through your guys' script, I have no idea what's going on. This time it was there was a clear direction, a clear purpose.
Yeah.
I have to wonder if you got a hold of some Adderall or something, because it was really a real step up from your usual stuff. And I don't mean to insult you, but it was really had a
I think
purpose.
this is ordinary for me.
I agree. Like I feel like before a lot of your pages were a little more kind of stream of consciousness-y.
You could tell the motivation was there.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
like when it came to Ethan, you're like, oh, I give a shit. Hold on, let me
Yeah,
look around.
Yeah, it had a lot more focus
Yeah.
Yeah.
than usual. Yeah.
I fired all of this off just a few hours ago today. That's why. So it actually was less work than any of the other scripts.
Maybe that's a trick you should think about. No, just kidding.
I should just submit all my first drafts.
Yeah.
Zombie says, Zombie Nomicon says it's very inside baseball, but hey, that was the thing is, I think this comic, if anything, makes less sense than any of the others, but I think that's also playing to my strength, perhaps.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was grinning the whole time because I was like, wait, is he serious? Okay, I'll go with it.
Of course, it's not very serious. This is,
If anything, I think you're holding back. You need to,
Do
lock and
more,
load.
do more.
Go. Put the pedal to the metal on this one.
I mean, I feel like I kind of burned out though after, because it was originally just going to be the 7 pages, and then I had a loose idea for like the green text of the whole Ribbit coin thing, and I was like, do I even want to add that? And I did, and it's like, oh, it came out to 10 pages. Okay.
But it's just all a bit. All right, so we will start with constructives here with William. Very funny, but my only real criticism, isn't this all a bit too in-jokey? Tug was rightly flayed for releasing a comic that was just the struggles of a 45-year-old mentally challenged man on Twitter.
And that is definitely is a pitfall, but it's also by design meant to be almost
if you're not involved in it, it's and yes, it is kind of an inside joke.
Yeah, kind of not meant to be understood, but it's also a comic it's like, I'm not going to charge $25 for this. I'm not even going to charge $20 for this, It would just be kind of a mini comic posted under the Comicsgate trademark as, sort of a troll, if anything.
I think
like the original Cash Grab was supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this you've got a lot of potential here. I really think.
You mean with a general idea, like bullet point, single pages stuff?
No, I didn't like it when it became captions. I like it when there was more character interactions. Like I really loved the page of Boxhead, where he's just sitting here going like, SJW has ruined comics. This one sucks. No, wait, they listen to me. It's really good. You should go buy it. No, they really like that. Was funny,
It's kind of a meme comic by design.
Yeah.
Forget Boxhead. Replace that with one of the well-known super chat pay pigs at that point.
Right. Well, it's supposed to be Richard specifically.
Yeah. But I'm saying like that was funny. And even if it's kind of an inside joke, but even if you didn't know anything about it and you were just reading it, it's still kind of funny. It's not nearly as funny, but because even if you don't know the whole Comicsgate Richard thing, you still know presumably of people on YouTube who are just sitting there railing against something and then, but still continuing to patronize it. So you are kind of lampooning a larger archetype instead of a specific individual at that point.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for with that page too, was I didn't want it to be too specific about the exact event, because that was about how Richard was like, oh, Chip Zdarsky, he's terrible, and then he's great, and then he's terrible, and then he's great. Like I actually saw that, and then I was like, wow, that would be a funny comic making fun of that. But and I didn't want to make it too specific though, because then it could become universal and doesn't have to be about the specific thing anymore. So
all right, AK-47 constructives.
Well, William kind of took mine, and actually the reason why I didn't voice it at first, I was thinking I was not going to voice it because can you point to Kaiser Crimson's comment?
I mean, it works because it's so in-jokey.
Yeah, I was thinking that it wouldn't work, but then I had the same train of thought that whoever this person is was thinking as well. So I wasn't sure if I should voice anything. Yeah,
that's a good. I feel like this needs to be a little more Mad TV or Mad Magazine rather. It needs to be more Mad Magazine.
Someone did mention that you should probably make fun of Kiwi Farms on there too.
Yeah. Oh boy. Isn't that supposed to not be good to instigate the farms?
Yeah, that would be its own comic.
I mean, here's the thing though about Kiwi Farms is I legitimately don't read enough of it to know.
And yes, the art needs to, if the art is really like,
it doesn't have to be great art though. In fact, I would prefer something more simple than normal.
Right.
Like a kind of an MS Paint style. not stick figures, but like
I almost want to say like George Alexopoulos kind of thing, where he's got like the kind of the
I would absolutely
exaggerated
love to have
faces.
him do this, especially for the Tim and Mark page.
Right.
That would be perfect with George's art.
The bunny with the underwear on his head was
Now,
just
Tim
so
and Mark
great.
page. I mean, that one. I feel like. I mean that's so inside. Even I'm like, I don't quite get that.
Yeah, that one's too inside, but it's also an important necessity. It has to be in there.
Yeah. Why does it have to be in there?
Just because it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard is that like Mark and Tim running around Mitch Breitweiser's house stealing his fucking wife's nude photos from their house so that they could blackmail him with it.
Yeah,
Ethan
was
Van
pretty
Sciver
bad.
tells people for real,
Yeah.
and it's actual slander. It's I guess that's a crime. Is that supposed to be a crime or something? Yeah, some
And then
people say the Tim and Mark page is their favorite.
Instead of blackmailing them directly, they sent it through gave it to the Laughing Man so he could do it, which is even crazier.
Some goofy guy who didn't actually even make a blackmail threat. He made like a blackmail joke, like, I got nudes of your wife. What you can do about it? And they're like, they have nudes of his wife, and just completely took it seriously.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Somebody
Did he
else
have
tell
him
me.
on a day that
All right,
ended in
I
Y?
corrected that apparently that page is a winner. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, that's the thing about a lot of my old comics that I don't show anyone, and you can't really find on the internet anymore. But a lot of the old comics were really hit and miss with different people, where it would be a hit with some people and then a giant miss with other people, like the same page. People would be like, what the hell is this about? And other people would be like, oh, this is my favorite page. And then other pages would be somebody else's favorite page. And then like my friends would be like, this page, I don't even know what's going on in this.
Well, I mean, as long as you're hitting,
yeah, it's kind of machine gun approach.
Yeah, and that's fine as long as you hit with some of them, like
late night comics, not Laughing Man.
Yeah, late night comics. I'm
That's
sorry.
right.
Sorry, Laughing Man.
all right, Vicky Constructive. What you got anything?
Yeah, I did think the last two pages, even though I get what you were going for with them, were not.
They
were kind of stilty. Yeah, not funny enough.
Yeah.
Since the rest of it's so funny.
Yeah.
I
really think this idea is big enough that you could make it more generic. I honestly think that.
Yeah, well, the
more generic, longer, like treat it like a real story. Give us like a conflict,
Yeah, I guess it's true. The approach I had was all the beginning stuff is like ridiculous, off the wall, me trying to satirize stuff that's completely bonkers, and then at the end, it's like, here's the actual real story, so people can see how ridiculous the real version is. And I don't know how well that works, or if that would ever work. But I also feel like I don't have any other ideas for this. It's like, that's everything. I was gonna like shoehorn. At the end of this, I was just going to shoehorn the Orange Man script from last week and be like, 14-page comic. I would, just try and get an artist to do it and maybe charge $1 or whatever. I don't know. Maybe print it as some kind of tiny, like, little indie comic. But if it had the Comicsgate trademark, that's all I had in mind was, what's the most like insulting thing I could write that would be under the Comicsgate trademark?
And it also needs 100% more Ethan Pool in the yards. I don't understand what that's referring to.
I think that's when he's stumbling the Predator page where he's just stumbling around going gay ups and all that stuff. Maybe he needs to stumble into a pool and it's like, oh.
I really want to see, because this is how I think of him anyway, is like he has like the legitimate challenges of running a business, but he is just making all the wrong decisions.
Yeah.
People are like, okay, the bill came from your artist. That's a gay up.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing is like Cape Cuck Follies is like, I guess this would be issue number 1. And it's not like I would be like, I'm the only one who can write this. It's like anyone who has any ideas for this that they would want to add, they could throw them in too. And, they could write them, or they could have me try to, write a few panels, put it into a script format if they want me to, as long as, I guess as long as an artist is being paid for to make it a comic. So yeah, it can be fleshed out and continued from there. But just I guess if other people have stuff to add
I mean,
to
even like I would say, like tighten, because right now I feel like you are trying to get everything in. You're trying.
Yeah,
to
I was throwing every
You're
loose
throwing
idea.
everything in.
Mhm.
And I feel like you should look at this as like a skit, like an SNL skit, and you're gonna focus on one topic.
Mhm.
And here's Rethan regarding do whatever, and get like 6 or 7 pages out of like one conflict. You get like the good stuff, you get in, you get out. And then this would probably go in a comic that's going to end up being 23 interior pages. So you get a couple stories from 2 other people, so you end up with one comic book that's 3 separate stories or something.
That's possible, but I was also my approach was just to go for like one idea or per page.
Right.
That's what I really wanted to do. So yeah, it's tough to say. Like I would have to sort of not start over, but come up with something completely new at this point for a continuing like 5-page story or something.
Let's see. So
Make it an anthology.
By the way,
Like,
Victor,
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is that this would be like a little goof anthology,
like an answer to their jumpstart thing. Leap
Yeah.
beginning.
by the way, Victor, we're talking about different he's. So these are 2 writers, 2 different writers who are incapable of writing anything new.
No, he's okay. He put JK on it.
But I was just answering his question, but
I know Victor. He's eccentric.
Yeah.
I'll just point out that was my intention.
And Zombie would like you to know it was actually funny at times. And
that's good.
So yeah, I think it's good. I just think you need to polish it a little more. And what I would say is you need to treat it like a legitimate story. Go, okay, a legitimate series. This is what I would imagine with this is it's going to be a series. You don't have to cram it all into one thing. You're going to just imagine you're going to do a whole bunch of stories, but we're just going to talk about it one at a time. And so let's pick a conflict here. And
so would that be like take the first page and sort of and lengthen it out to a couple pages or something, or like 4 or 5?
Hold on, let's see. All right, page 1. So boom. All right, here let me just go all the way to the top here. So we're starting here, page 1. So he's sitting here
about the coin.
Yeah, he's
this one looks like, to me, it's a 1-page kind of a gag in a way.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of going for like almost newspaper comics, or like a short strip or something. Each page is its own kind of isolated strip.
Right.
That was my approach.
I wanted to be a bit more unified.
Okay.
Yeah. Victor, you got too many pronouns. I like this guy. I'm not exactly sure which guy you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that means the Crow story, Crow Man.
Yeah, so
I think it's Thomas's.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna guess that he likes.
Okay,
no, I don't know. I'm lost. Carry on. Okay. So all right. Anyway, but but yeah, like I feel like you got something good here. But yeah, instead of doing the approach of each page is kind of independent, I would look at telling a unified 7-page or 10-page story. Around one central conflict, and just kind of the funny adventures of Rethan and Boxhead and all that.
All right, yeah, I would have to think about that, because the way I wrote these, it's like I can't even imagine, building on these unless I just take one premise and sort of start over fresh to make it multiple pages too. So I'm not sure yet. In a way, I've always felt like one of my strengths was theoretically making short, punchy, like almost meme-worthy pages. And I think other people might have, other approaches. Like other people would say, oh, it's good as just one page, but there's so many ways for different people to see what one appeal or another. So yeah, it would be nice to come up with. Yeah, like basically, I want to do Garfield.
Yeah,
Want to add maybe Garfield should show up, but
I'd just like to add that hail is small balls of ice that fall from the sky like rain.
Exactly.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, exactly. Like this has potential. That all right, because now let's look at this from a producer point of view, right?
Mhm.
So if you do like one and done, and it's just this collage of like one page is just one idea, and here's another day, and here's another day, and those basically all the idea, then it makes it hard to do a sequel,
Mhm.
Whereas if it's one, it's you don't have to reinvent the wheel here, right? That's why I was referencing Saturday Night Live. It's kind of a sketch. It's a parody sketch. People, you're plugging into a format people already know, like, oh, it's a parody sketch. Cool. But a parody sketch, it needs a conflict. It needs, to have a beginning, middle, and end, however short it is. And if you hook people, then they're going to be like, oh wow, I want to see more of that, and then you have the potential to deliver more of that. Whereas I feel like with the format you were going with, you're really stuck if you want to tell a sequel, because it's so kind of
Would you say that that Orange Man comic idea would be a better example of what you're looking for then?
I'm trying to remember Orange Man. So much has happened, and
It was it has been a long week. Orange Man was the autopsy of a comic book movie sales bump, and it was like it sort of told a 4-page story. It was the one that was 4 pages about somebody writes a comic called Orange Man, somebody makes a movie about it, a kid sees the movie, wants to read the book, and the book is really stupid, so he just throws the book away. And it's it's 4 pages, and it tells this whole story kind of condensed into a sort of satirical idea. And it's like I could do something with that with some of these ideas, or with an idea making fun of I guess former Comicsgate. But I would have to pick something specific, because like the one about Just Some Guy, not to spoil it, the Inside Baseball, but the page about Just Some Guy I still think works best as just one page.
sure.
But then there are other ideas that can be fleshed out.
Well, but the way you could structure that a little better would be, if Rethan, has something and is like, oh wait, I know, I'll put on, let me call it Just Some Guy. So you call him up, and then you have like one page of interactions with him in and out, but again, back to a coherent plot. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
Or what? Hold on, I know what I'll get to do to let me find out what the problem with the comics is. Boxhead, and then you do like the Boxhead page, and but you still have an in and out, an entrance and an exit type of page. So.
Theoretically, the thing is that I'm not sure I would even want to do that for this. Personally, I would be like, I so want it to just be this one page and then disconnected next page and then disconnected next page. Like it's just a flurry of single sort of setups and punchlines. But I mean, also, doing it that doesn't mean I have to throw those away, or I could keep those and then come up with something else that blends from, changing setting like that to the next, and just throw in both of those things at the same time.
Yeah. So like look, a lot of people are seeing some potential. So
does that mean they would fund it?
Well, yes. I mean, the thing is, if you see somebody coming and saying, "Boy, I like this. I think I got some ideas in this direction," then yeah, I think you would have.
I would be interested also in hearing other people, like if they came up with something that they either wanted me to joke about, or something within a page, or within a page that could jump to another page.
And this is another idea: is that you can think of the Boxhead or the Just Some Guy as being like intermissions.
Yeah, I think that would work as like a disconnect in between continuing storyline.
Right. Exactly.
The problem is, by the time you get this into people's hands, though, I mean, we're moving on almost a 24-hour basis for
exactly.
You'll be dated before you ever get anything out there.
Like this is. Yeah.
That's why I was also thinking that the art style for this would be best served as like something like basically black and white, like almost scribble quality. but
You'd be better off with like posing toys at this point, and like adding MS Paint captions, maybe.
I've seen people just fire off a comic in like a few minutes too, though, and it's like there's something about that I really kind of admire, is to just get a point across with like really simple like MS Paint doodles and stuff. Because I remember in 4chan, people used to do that all the time, and some of those stuff still get reposted around these days. Or they would get memed and like edited and re-edited hundreds of times to have different points. And I always liked that idea of that in comics. I don't think it lends itself to print, or at least people would look at it and be like, why does this look like it was drawn in MS Paint? Why is it on a page? I would kind of love to see that, though, a printed comic that looks like it was in MS. Like, I would love to see Tails Gets Trolled, a print edition for real.
Well, then you get to the point where it's like, I was only pretending to be retarded, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's a real danger with this kind of stuff. Because, yes, it's funny to make fun of these guys, but, I mean, is there really an audience for this outside of, like, checking on a Kiwi's Farms post or something like that? You know?
Yeah, there's, the way I see it is, like, there's not really any audience. But,
yeah.
But
it was kind of cathartic for us tonight.
It was. It definitely was. It was a much needed release.
So, I would say that as it is now, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's kind of how we really started making webcomics. It was not exactly a catharsis, but it was or venting, but it was a way to get points across that I felt I wasn't getting across otherwise. And it was something that was just fun to do. And I can't draw for shit, but I would still just do these really cheap little doodles. And it was really funny to just make fun of something in a really cheap little comic like that. And that's the entire approach I had to writing this.
I mean, you might end up on Kiwi Farms as, that might be autistic, as they call it.
Yeah, I guess. Well, they're going to call everything autistic. I don't even know anymore. Autistic is one of those words like racist that just doesn't mean anything anymore.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was perfect the way it was tonight. It was fun.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, see, there's a lot of different ways to see the exact same kind of comics too. So it's hard to say what should be done or changed, if anything, or if I should like have a new approach that I just add to this. Which I like the idea of intercutting. The
MS Paint is a good idea, definitely. Yeah.
Just in black and white. I mean, that's all you need.
If you put out an MS Paint physical of this, I'd probably back it.
Yeah, and again, I would only charge like $1 tops for the.
Okay, then you know what? I think we have found our comic, its production, its price point, and the market. So there you go. Go forth.
Perfect. I mean, I don't. I also. This is also the kind of comic I would. Yeah. Like to put out for free.
An MS Paint style comic would definitely be higher quality than Stealing Solo. Exactly. So.
I mean, in physical, that would be hilarious on its own right there.
Yeah, I like that idea of seeing something that was just drawn black and white scribble doodles, or I mean, not in terrible quality. I've seen good artists do like little MS Paint doodles really simply and quickly that still look, I think, really great in its own kind of sense, and I like that. Exceptional as it is. Oh yeah, that's on Kiwi Farms. They, instead of saying autistic, they say exceptional.
There's a lot of room for like Poe's Law in this too,
Yeah, that's another thing is who knows if people are going to be like, is this supposed to be for real? Is this supposed to be serious? Is this supposed to be a joke?
Aaron, this comment is kind of meaningless. Like, who are you talking? Who are you directing this to? Someone in the chat? All of this? Geez.
Are you going to a stream and telling people talking on the
Yeah, exactly. Do you wander into a movie theater and like, shut up?
Stop showing images at me on a screen.
Yeah. Oh God. Anyway, so
what an interesting night.
Yeah, we had some good stories. I'm looking forward to it.
Very good.
Yeah, we'll be, I'll be working out the pitch stream idea, but I'm glad to see people are kind of liking that. I'll hype it up and we'll start putting that together.
This show just says it's called Test.
It does. Oh, you're right. It does.
Notice that.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I needed to delete and repurpose, but that's just what it says on the inside. On the outside, it says other things.
Yeah, that's right. No wonder I didn't notice it because the actual video is just called, the writer's room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, I think that's more or less everything. Next week we will be presenting some more exciting pages.
Yeah.
And
not from me, hopefully. Even though I have another 2 scripts that I could present.
I've been writing pages 11 through 20 of Guinevere issue 4, and boy, I suddenly can't. All right, wait, hold on. I'm gonna run this idea by you here, okay? Close your ears if you are concerned about what you don't want to know about Guinevere. All right, so here's an idea I had, okay? Because I've been thinking, yeah, so kind of, like Guinevere becomes this. So I had this idea. What if, because it used to be, what if Guinevere merged with, it got assimilated into the machine kind of thing. And then she's kind of like half magic, half machine. But then I'm like, wait, what if like she ends up merging with like kind of the Eric personality who represents the machine, or the machine, kind of as represented by the Eric personality, and Viviax in terms of like a dark spirit. So we end up with like a Trinity type being. I was thinking that might be the name. Like, what if like at the end of the story, she is like emerged with like a new name, Trinity, and is like a triplicate character who represents a little bit of Viviax, a little bit of Guinevere, and a little bit of Eric, all thrown together. I don't know.
Guinevere?
No, Trinity. Trinity would be the name. So,
the Matrix is coming out next summer, so
it is. But I looked, and there is no trademark on the character Trinity. So, and my character is not her character, so I'm allowed. Yeah.
She has to be blonde then.
Yeah. Well, sure, or redheaded. But,
or redheaded.
Yeah. But then I was thinking this. All right. So because I want to do the, the kind of like Robotech thing with like, Robotech meets White Lily kind of storyline. I've been kicking that one around. I got a lot of ideas, and I'm thinking like, what if I did this? Because I've also now we're looking at the Comicsgate trademark shared universe and the rating system, and I'm like, what if? Because one of my ideas was I don't want any characters in adult rated books to have the same names as characters in all ages or even like teenage books. Yeah, because I want those to be different. Even if you're doing the same character, like even if you're doing Wonder Woman, if you take her adult, then you can't call her Wonder Woman anymore. You have to call her something else. Because I don't want someone to be like Google searching and just buying all the Wonder Womans and being like, what the hell? So it's or I don't want to be seen as like, because potentially you could have like an all-age version Wonder Woman and then an adult version Wonder Woman. I feel like that's too much confusion on the character. So I think
you're talking about the merging with the machine thing, right?
Yeah. So
okay, the only name that you can use is Cyber Woman at that point.
Okay, Cyber Woman sounds good. So, but then I started thinking this, or triplicate, although that makes her sound like the IRS. Triplicate, I am coming for you. Yeah, or Trinite. Trinite. But I was thinking, what if we embrace the whole Schrodinger's box thing idea? Where you're in like a quantized, half alive, half dead state, but once you open the box, the universe kind of makes a decision point. Are you familiar with that concept at all?
Yeah,
vaguely, yeah.
It's to like describe how states of matter could be in 2 different fluxes or something like that.
Right. So I was thinking
triptych. That's kind of a good name.
Yeah. So I was also thinking like, there could be this situation where there's the stuff going on literally inside like the closed off box of the machine, and it's only until someone opens it that it reveals that, oh well, this is merged into like the Trinity character, which would then go on to like the darker adult universe. But meanwhile, we would have room to do Gatsby and Guinevere, because in that universe, in the more kind of all ages universe, Guinevere emerges. So it allows for like a splitting of the story, a splitting of the characters.
Oh, so she's like a different Guinevere in that story.
Right. Yeah. So this was an idea I've been kicking around. But wait, any thoughts on that?
I don't have a lot of thoughts. I'm sleepy. That's my thought.
All right. Well, it's just
There's a lot of ways you could take that too. So it's like, wow, man, that's a starting point for so many possibilities. It's hard to even say what to think.
Exactly, a quantized character. Well, good. You see, that's since I'm kind of establishing a storytelling universe, I want a starting point to a lot of different possibilities. So I probably am going to tell it that way. Yeah,
that would be an interesting. Yeah, it's like they open the box and then the whole the multiverse of your universe starts from there.
Right. Exactly. So anyway,
I like it.
Sounds very creative.
I try to be a creative guy when I'm not,
Juices are flowing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes I try to be anti-creative.
Exactly. Shared into different versions for different worlds. Exactly. It's because I think I want to kind of get away from the notion of canon, because I think canon has kind of ended up being
a straitjacket.
Yeah, a straitjacket.
All this shit's made up anyways.
Well, and the thing is that what does canon even mean? I mean, like we've got Terminator 1, Terminator 2, good movies. Terminator 3, Terminator 4. You know what? We're gonna make a Terminator. We're gonna ignore the last two Terminator movies. Like, well, then they're not fucking canon, then are they? Right? I mean, like,
and then we're gonna go back and fuck with what happened in the first two,
or the new ones not canon, and the old ones are actually the only ones that are canon. And like, does it even matter? At this point.
Yeah, like if canon is meaningless, then we should build into our story design that that canon is meaningless, and there will be certain decision or breakpoints kind of set up in like the master universe, if you want, that allow like kind of minor sub universes to branch out. That way, when someone's like, I want to take a character in a more adult direction, or I want it, or like when you're making a producer choice, you're able to kind of work it into a framework of where it kind of seamlessly would be in the universe itself. So that's just an idea I'm having.
It sounds like you're in a good headspace for it.
Well, then you would have to take the all ages character and also give that one a different name.
Yeah, just renaming it and
rename the character. Rename the character. I mean, since you're going for an adult universe, you're obviously going to want to give her a different look. Look, as we recently saw with Black Cat, who's typically sexy AF, but then she's kind of this dumpy little thing for the it's a kid's cartoon, so you're going to give a character a different look. You should give a character a different name, despite the fact it's basically the same character. And
alien Slattern from the Teen Titans, the orange skinned one. Starfire is really different from the Teen Titans, like the cartoon, to Red Hood and the Outlaws. She has the same name though, but it's like she could have just been a different character entirely. Different name, different design.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, if you're, it's hard to me to imagine that you've been a hardcore fan of any of the big existing fandoms here over the last 40 years and just being addicted to canon. Because Star Wars, like, what the hell ended up being canon there?
Yeah.
Terminator, Aliens, okay. And then they were like, I know, maybe we should make an Aliens movie and just ignore everything after Aliens. I'm like, what the
and then let's merge it with the Predator universe.
Right. It's canon gets...
Those are obvious. Those are almost obviously like, this is not going to have anything to do with the official canon of the other. We can pretend it does, but it doesn't matter that much.
Right.
Well, the fact that in the second AVP movie they got to Earth with aliens, then Alien taking place in 2249 or whatever. What do you do with that?
Right.
Yeah, because it's like the first time they ever see an alien 200 years after aliens had already overrun Earth or something. It's like, that doesn't make sense. And again, at that point, canon doesn't really...
Where are you supposed to tell a story when you got your readers worried about that kind of question?
Yeah. That's if the IP is basically being farmed out by a bunch of different people to cash in on it too. So
right.
That aspect. If you're controlling your IP, if you're going to break from canon, it's as long as you communicate to the audience that this is maybe the same character but a different iteration.
Then you're on Earth X instead of Earth 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
But here's I think the greater thing here I want to say to Point of Light is that if I'm really doing an open license for a shared universe, then I have to abandon the concept of canon anyway.
Yeah.
Because if somebody's like, I want Guinevere, but I want to write her in my storyline, like the Rag storyline where there's a zombie apocalypse, just as a for instance, then I don't have to pretend like there's a zombie apocalypse in my comic. I'm just like, well, no, you just borrowed Guinevere and put her in your story, you know?
Yeah, and the audience would know that instinctively too. It's like, okay, this isn't happening. This isn't shared universe for real. It's just like the characters being sort of transplanted in.
Exactly. So,
Well, look at how DC handled it when it got too convoluted. We got one of the best comics of all time in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So, you got a while before you get to that point. Go for it.
Has its ups and downs in a way, though. Like, it will have the good stuff, and then there's also going to be, like, for every Infinity Gauntlet, then there's going to be an Infinity War, which is, one's good, one's terrible.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I guess those are pretty much all the thoughts this week. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Always a pleasure.
Well, thank you for hosting us.
Of course, absolutely. I will see everybody next week. This has been Preston Poulter, the most vetted man in all of comic books. Thanking everyone very much for their time. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.